Someone else was living in my apartment when she finally came back to beg. That's how she found out I was gone. Not through a text, not through a fight, through a stranger's confused face at my front door. But here's the thing, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the moment that changed everything, the moment I realized my girlfriend didn't just think I needed her, she was betting her entire identity on it. I was standing at the edge of a crowded bar on a Friday night, holding a beer I didn't really want, watching my girlfriend Maya perform for her friends. That's what it always felt like with her crew, a performance. They were mid-conversation about some couple they knew who'd just broken up, and one of her friends was going on about how pathetic the guy was, how he'd completely fallen apart. Therefore, Maya saw her opening. She took this delicate sip of her mojito, gestured toward me with her glass, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Oh, that would never happen with us. He's way too scared to leave me. He'd completely fall apart without me." Then she laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not an awkward laugh, a confident, certain laugh. Her friends all nodded like she'd just stated a scientific fact. They looked at me with this mix of pity and certainty, like I was some lost puppy who'd wandered into her life and couldn't survive without her. I didn't say anything. I just took another sip of my beer and stayed quiet. But inside, something shifted. You know that moment of absolute clarity you get right after something breaks? When all the noise stops and you can suddenly see every single piece of what just shattered. That's what happened. She didn't just think I depended on her. She was proud of it. My perceived weakness was her source of power, her insurance policy, her favorite story to tell. Here's what she didn't know. I'm a lead systems engineer at a major tech company. I design complex infrastructure that handles millions of transactions. I work entirely remote, making well into six figures, and I'm good at what I do. Really good. I'm naturally quiet. I prefer deep conversations over loud parties, a small circle over a big crowd. She had mistaken my introversion for dependence, my preference for staying in as proof that I had no life without her. Therefore, in that moment, her words didn't just hurt me, they freed me. She'd handed me the diagnosis. Our relationship was terminal, and I'm nothing if not a problem solver. I stayed at that bar for another 15 minutes, playing the part. Then I leaned over, kissed her cheek, and told her I was heading home because I was tired. She waved me off without even looking at me. "Sure, babe, don't wait up," she said, already launching into another story. I walked out of that bar, not as her dependent boyfriend, but as someone who'd just been handed the blueprint for his own escape. She thought I'd fall apart without her. She was about to discover I'd been holding everything together the entire time, and I was about to let go and watch it all collapse under her own weight. When I got home that night, it was around 11. Most people would have gone to bed, maybe cried, maybe drafted some angry text they'd delete in the morning. But I opened my laptop. For the past 18 months, I've been turning down recruiters. They reached out constantly. Opportunities in Denver, Seattle, Portland, all these tech hubs where companies were desperate for people with my skill set. I always said no because I was building a life here with her. One recruiter in particular, this woman named Rachel from a fast-growing startup in Denver, had been persistent. She'd sent me an offer 2 months back for a senior engineering director role, leading a whole new team. Massive step up in responsibility, significant pay increase. I found her email. It was nearly midnight on a Friday. I typed, "Hi Rachel, hope this finds you well. Is that director position in Denver still available? If so, I'd love to discuss it further. Best, Chris." I hit send. She replied in 8 minutes. "Chris, absolutely yes. Can we talk Monday morning?" Therefore, while Maya was sleeping off her cocktails and congratulating herself on having such a controllable boyfriend, I was interviewing for the biggest career move of my life. The interviews happened over the next 3 days, all video calls. They were technical, intense, exactly the kind of challenge I love. By Thursday afternoon, I had a formal offer in my inbox. The salary was 45% higher than my current pay, plus equity and a signing bonus that made my eyes widen. I signed a contract within an hour. My start date was the following Monday. I had 6 days to move my entire life to another state. Here's where my actual skills came in. I work with complex systems every single day. My own life was just another system to reconfigure. First, the living situation. I own my condo outright. Bought it 3 years before I ever met Maya. She paid me a tiny amount each month for rent, barely covering utilities, money she usually spent on brunch, and new clothes anyway. She had zero legal claim to the space. But I had someone who deserved it. My younger sister Emma and her husband Tyler had gotten married 8 months ago. They were living in this cramped apartment on the outskirts of the city, both working full-time and barely scraping together savings for a house down payment. They're two of the most genuine, hardworking people I know. I called Emma on Friday morning. I laid it out straight. I'm moving to Denver for a new job, leaving Sunday, and I want you and Tyler to take over my place. The furniture, the appliances, everything, it's yours. Live here rent-free as long as you need to save for your own place. Just cover the utilities and the HOA fees. Consider it your wedding present. She thought I was pranking her. When she realized I was serious, she started crying. She and Tyler came over that afternoon to see the place again, this time as their new home. Watching them walk through it, planning where their stuff would go, imagining their future there, it was one of the best feelings I'd ever had. It confirmed everything. Therefore, I hired movers for Saturday. I packed only what mattered: my clothes, my books, my computer equipment, some personal items. Everything else, the leather couch I'd saved up for, the high-end sound system, the 65-inch TV, the kitchen gear, I was leaving it all for Emma and Tyler. But Maya's stuff was a different story. I packed every single item of hers. Every dress, every shoe, every makeup bag, every decorative pillow she'd bought. All of it went into boxes. I rented a storage unit across town, prepaid 3 months, and had the movers take everything there on Saturday morning. During all of this, Maya was texting me. It started annoyed. "Are you seriously still ignoring me?" Then shifted to angry. "This is so childish, Chris." Then finally concerned. "Okay, I'm actually getting worried now. Are you okay?" I never responded. I muted her notifications. I was too busy systematically erasing myself from her life. On Saturday afternoon, I did the final sweep. I had the locks changed on the condo. Then I sat down and wrote a simple letter. Short, factual, no emotion. "Maya, I've moved to Denver for a new job. This relationship is over. Your belongings are in storage. Here's the key, code, and address. I've also included a check refunding every dollar you paid me in rent over the past 2 years. I want nothing from you. Do not contact me. Chris." I put the letter in an envelope with the storage unit key, the access code, and a cashier's check for the full amount she'd paid. I didn't want a single dollar of her money tied to me. I left the envelope with the building concierge, with strict instructions to only hand-deliver it to Maya personally. Sunday morning, the movers came for my boxes. Emma and Tyler arrived an hour later with their own U-Haul. I gave them their keys, walked them through the smart home system, showed them the bottle of champagne I'd left in the fridge for them. We hugged. I wished them well. Then I got in my car and drove 1,000 miles to my new life. I didn't look back once. Therefore, Maya thought I was still in the city, sulking in my apartment, waiting for her to grace me with her forgiveness. She had no idea I dismantled our entire shared existence and rebuilt something better without her even knowing. She thought I was too scared to argue with her. She didn't realize I'd already left the conversation entirely. 3 weeks passed. My new job was everything I'd hoped. Challenging, rewarding, surrounded by brilliant people. I found a great apartment in downtown Denver with mountain views. I started exploring the city, hiking on weekends, actually building a life I wanted. The silence from my old world was beautifully peaceful. But eventually, she had to figure it out. My sister Emma called me last night around 9, her voice somewhere between laughter and shock. "You're not going to believe what just happened," she said. She told me Maya had finally gone to the building about a week after I left. The concierge gave her my letter. Emma said she wished she could have seen Maya's face when she read it, when she realized her entire reality had evaporated. Maya went to the storage unit and found her mountain of belongings. She tried calling me. Number disconnected. She tried emailing. I'd set up a filter that sent anything from her straight to trash. She was locked out, cut off completely in the dark. According to a mutual friend who was still in contact with her, her first reaction was rage. She told everyone I was unstable, that I'd had some kind of breakdown and vanished. She played the victim hard. But the narrative fell apart when her friends realized she was suddenly homeless and broke. The free dinners, the nice apartment, the endless flow of my money supporting her lifestyle, it was all gone. Without that, she wasn't as interesting to them anymore. She had to move in with one of her friends, some temporary thing that was clearly straining. She spent weeks building this story in her head that I'd done this to punish her, that I'd eventually come crawling back, because, after all, how could I possibly survive without her? Therefore, last night, she decided to play her final card, the tearful apology. She was going to show up at what she still thought was my door, ready to cry, and forgive me for being so cruel, ready to take me back and fix everything. Emma said they were watching a show when someone started pounding on the door. Tyler opened it to find Maya standing there. She'd clearly prepared. Her eyes were already red, her face set in this expression of tragic sorrow. She didn't even look at Tyler. She looked past him into the apartment, expecting to see me. "Chris," she said, her voice cracking perfectly on cue. "I know I messed up. I was so wrong. Please, can we just talk? I'll do anything. I can't live without you." Tyler just stood there, completely confused. He's this friendly, straightforward guy who had no clue who this crying stranger was. "I'm sorry," he said. "I think you have the wrong place. I'm Tyler." Maya's face froze. The performance stopped. She looked at him, really looked at him, then looked past him again. That's when she started noticing the changes. The wedding photo of Emma and Tyler on the entry table. Different pillows on the couch. Women's sneakers by the door that definitely weren't her size. "What?" she stammered. "Where's Chris?" "This is his apartment." "Oh, Chris is my brother-in-law," Tyler said cheerfully. "He moved to Denver like a month ago for some amazing new job. He's letting me and Emma live here while we save for our own place. Super generous of him." That's when Emma came to the door. Sweet, genuine Emma, the complete opposite of Maya. She smiled kindly at this confused woman on their doorstep. Tyler said the look that crossed Maya's face was something he'd never forget. It was the look of someone whose entire reality just got shredded. The story she'd been telling herself for weeks, that I was nearby, miserable, waiting for her to come save me, was a complete lie. I wasn't in a corner, somewhere falling apart. I was 1,000 miles away, thriving. But here's the part that really destroyed her. I hadn't just left her. I'd replaced her entire life in my apartment with something better, a happier life, for people I actually cared about. The home, the furniture, the comfortable lifestyle she thought was partly hers. It was all still there. She just wasn't invited anymore. I'd given it away as a gift to my family, for free, like it meant nothing, because compared to my peace of mind, it didn't. "He's in Denver?" she whispered. "Yeah, he loves it there," Tyler said. "He's doing really great." Maya just stood there in complete silence. The fake tears were gone, replaced by this blank, hollow expression. She'd built her entire sense of self on the idea that I was weak and she was strong, that I needed her more than she needed me. In one conversation, on one doorstep, that foundation was obliterated. She wasn't in control. She wasn't the sun I orbited. She was just an inconvenience, a stranger at the door of a happy couple's home. She didn't say another word. She just turned around and walked away. I hung up the phone after Emma told me the whole story, and I looked out at the Denver skyline from my new balcony. I felt nothing for Maya. No anger, no pity, not even satisfaction. Just this profound, settled peace. She'd predicted I would fall apart without her, but she had it completely backward. I had to leave her in order to finally put myself together. She thought I'd crumble without her. Turns out, I was the foundation holding everything up, and the moment I walked away, her whole world collapsed while mine finally began.